Well. Hi friends, welcome to episode 137. It is the end of May. It's also the end of the school holiday and something else, and normally I don't say this in these, it's the end of that blooming heat wave. It was terrible in here, really hot. Unfortunately, this barn, how can I say, when it's cold out there, it is colder in here. I don't know quite how it works, maybe the concrete freezes or something, but it's absolutely horrible in here. And then when it's hot, this place turns into an oven. So yeah, it was really warm. However, it is the end of the school holiday, unfortunately. I did manage to get an extra couple of days done up here, which is why we've had the previous episode, going back a bit, was a 3-day one. And then there was a short one, spending some more time up here midweek. And today is Saturday. I've got a special visitor coming. I don't know whether you want to go on camera, though. It's my friend Norman Kemp. So we're going to go out to lunch, so I'll lose a little bit of time. But I do hope this weekend to be getting on with those Rexine panels inside, because I'm now at the stage where I can start putting stuff back, the lino, the Rexine panels and blah, blah, blah. However, I've still got the problem with painting. The plinth had an awful reaction with the new paint that I put on there. So I'm struggling a bit with that. And the trouble is I've got to keep everything covered up while I do the, you know, when I spray, I've got to cover everything up because I can't have the overspray go all over the stuff I've just put in the bus. So inside the bus, it looks absolutely terrible at the moment, just paper everywhere. But nonetheless, I do hope to do that. The horrible little flying things that I had in here, it's nice and early in the morning. Can't see any. But I think when we do these big panels, we have to do them early in the morning. But I think we missed the opportunity a little bit now. So anyway, I'm going to stick the kettle on. Mark has already turned up over the other side and he's getting his stuff ready over the other side. So, yeah, time for a coffee. So, anyway, let's see how we get on this edition. Oh, thankfully that heat wave has now gone. So, here is the field outside looking really lovely. So, something else that's looking really lovely is all the bits and pieces that are going back into the RT. It's really nice now to be seeing progress. So all this hard work we've done over the winter is now starting to come to some fruition. So the first thing we've got to do is get rid of all that horrible brown paper. So let's kick off. Without a shadow of a doubt, this has become my #1 priority to get the paint on this. As you're aware, if you've watched previous editions, I've had problems with the paint reacting. The other plinth, which you can see when I've got my masking tape on, that's really gone well. But this side was very near to the bench where I was doing the Rexine panels. So I think what's happened is that some of the spray adhesive that I've used has landed on there. A large part of that was actually covered and didn't go too bad, but I don't really want to just spray one part of it. My view is always spray the whole thing again, because that way you haven't got any sort of shade differences in the paint. So hence the reason why I do the whole thing. But the reaction is down on that bottom panel. And don't worry about where you see all that scabby stuff right down by the floor. That is actually hidden partly by the floor, because the floor is missing at that point, as you know. And also by a little piece of wood, which is like a sort of bit of beading that runs along there. So you don't see it. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. But I do want to get it right. Plus the fact, as I mentioned before, it's all hidden by a seat anyway, but I do want to get it right. Anyway, the weather is wonderful. Couldn't ask for better weather this time of the morning, as a result of which, in order to get rid of all of this blooming brown paper, I got the spray gun out. And this is the end result. So it's come up okay. I can't see any more of that reaction down on that bottom bit. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. You might notice there's a whacking great big hole in the floor there. That's the access point for the differential. So if you're topping up oil in the differential, that's where you go, through that little hole in the floor. So that's the only panel that I've got out. And of course it's sod's law. I covered it with paper, and then when I was on the floor doing the rubbing down, I managed to put my hand through it. So, I don't mind, it's all part of the fun of this, isn't it? So now that green lights us for getting rid of all this paper, and it was getting really depressing because everywhere I went in there was just paper everywhere. So yeah, time to start getting rid of that. But before we can do that, we need to get rid of some of the paraphernalia that we used for the spraying of that plinth. I've used 2 cameras on this. I've got my iPhone camera inside the bus, and I've got that sort of, I don't know, so-called HD camcorder outside filming the platform. So the image quality will swap around a little bit, but there's 2 cameras. Anyway, so these are the halogen lamps that I use to light that area, but I don't need them now, so I can take them out, and I'm going to leave the one LED light in there, which is lighting the saloon currently. Yeah, I probably should have took the legs down on it, but anyway, there we go. Are you ready for the great reveal? Right, well, let's set it to some music for a few seconds. So that is what it looks like. Actually, I think it's come out quite well, to be honest with you. That's what all the paper was hiding. You might notice I've taken the surround that went round the flywheel off. That's I wasn't happy with the fixing, so I've removed it and I've ordered up some new bolts for that. And I've still got that little bit in the corner as well where the wood got scratched. I have repainted that, and that is ready to go back in. And as you know from the previous one, I did want to put the little air grills back in above the 2 windows, but they're held in by very small panel pins, but also held in by the beading as well. So now that is done, it's time to have a look at the wheel arch that I sprayed and to put the lino back on. So here we go, me sticking some glue on the back of some lino. Right, this is that really aggressive contact adhesive. It needs to go on both surfaces. So this is it's me putting it on the lino, and then I'm going to go inside the bus, and I'm going to then smear it all over the side of the wheel arch, being careful not to get it all over my nice paint. So now this, I tell you what, if you don't mind, I'll just use this. I was going to do this to camera, but I'm having to do it at home on this. But I rather buy stuff from British retailers. I'm not a great lover of you know, the big companies, you know what I mean, and you know, a small supplier I'm really happy to go to, and this glue, it's a British firm, I believe it's made by, and they've been very helpful with information about, you know, the glues and the products and stuff like that, but you can't buy it direct from them, you have to go through a retailer. Absolutely perfect. So when I bought this, I bought it via Amazon. And they in the box there was in fact twice. I bought one sort of pot, I think late last year, and then another one I had to replace it with in April of this year. And both times inside the box was some literature, not about how you use it, but more about discounts. So I thought, yeah, okay, the first one, I can't remember when I put it, I lost it, I think I threw it in the bin. But the second one, I thought, actually, I'd really rather go to this company. And in the literature, it said, you know, come to us, we'll give you a 10% discount. So I thought, yeah, okay, I will do. So this was the box that arrived from Amazon in April of this year. Now, you know there's going to be something wrong now by the way I'm saying it. So I went direct to the supplier, and it had on it, we will do, you know, we've got it in stock, we can deliver within a couple of days. And I then entered the discount code, and it said the voucher was expired. And when you look at it, it actually had December the 31st of last year. So, yeah, what a waste of time that was. So, but nonetheless, it wasn't any more expensive than going to Amazon. So I thought, well, I'm helping out a British retailer, so I'll buy it from there. 2 of them. And so no extra cost to me. Anyway, so they had it in stock. Now, you know I'm saying it now, it's going to go wrong. Amazon went from the same retailer, delivered it in 2 days. Yeah. This firm, nearly 2 weeks. So, well, luckily I didn't need it desperately. So, hey-ho, the joys of British retailers. I'm really sorry about that. So, here I am, smearing the last of this glue all over that. I'm going to now have to do the side panel as well. Right, so this is that dreaded plinth. What I've done is I've used some very carefully positioned tape. You see I'm taking it off really slowly because I don't want to take the paint with it. So I just lightly tacked it on there. You might notice that the glue is also tacking up as well. It's trying to come off with the masking tape, but it does prevent it going all over the damn place because you can't get it dead accurate. So there we are, and that in there, just on top of the wheelarch, is the lino. So once I pop it on there, it's going to just grab it, and then it's going to hold. I've done the other one as well, though you can't see it, it's just behind me. So just to get it lined up, and then there's some decorative bits that need to go back on, some little bits of beading that will go across the top, but I'm not going to do them this weekend because I just wanted this to go off. But sod's law, that you put it on, you go as accurate as you possibly can. And then, and you see, and if that was a Rexine and that grabbed like that, that would have been like absolutely game over with this stuff. But there we are. So that is that wheelarch getting its lino back after all those decades of having no lino. So there we are. Troublesome wheelarch, hopefully finished. No, it's not the start of another episode. It's early on Sunday morning, and it's really nice and cool out there. So Saturday, bit of a bittersweet day really. I left here about 7:30 last night after having a long chat with Mark. Mark came up, brought his route master out, and he was doing some fiddling around in the barn on the other side. So it was great to see Mark. It was great to have a catch up with him because I hadn't seen him for about 3 or 4 weeks. So, however, right, the negatives. Unfortunately, the interior is coming back together again, which is really good. The brown paint, the very first batch of brown paint, I've now got a new batch of brown paint, scratches really bad. So I put some stuff back in the RT, and I'm going to have to sort of reverse that process and take it back out because as I've been putting stuff in, it's started to get scratched. So it's a bit of a pain in the bum. And also, there's these things. And these join the 2 Rexine panel. You've got a Rexine panel here, and this goes over the join. I mean, obviously it's a route master, but you know what I mean. So you imagine that sort of covering the 2 panels. I made all of these. I have got the original wood, and they were held in originally with rivets. So I thought I'd have a go at doing that, just repeat the process, and I had all sorts of bother with it. The rivets, unfortunately, when you put them in, there's such high pressure, they're splitting the wood. So this is one I made earlier. So I'm going to have to repair this one. This one got damaged with the rivets there and there. So I'm going to repair that one. I have got a spare somewhere over there, but it's a bit of a pity. But I was hoping, really hoping, to get these back into the bus. So that's going to put a bit of a delay on me. But the good things are, it was the temperature, the lack of wind, the lack of dust was ideal yesterday for spraying that plinth. And having rubbed it down, having filled it, having done all sorts of things, it went well. So I think, I mean, I could look at it and say I'll do it again, but no, I don't think we'll tempt fate. So that's come up really well. So all right, we'll do a clumsy edit there. Right, so this bit is the little piece of metal which joins the 2 lino panels together. A lot of those actually, I think I had to make a couple of those, but who cares anyway. So they have to use rivets, so hence the reason here I am with my rivet gun and popping them in. So there's another little bit going back. But as I mentioned earlier on, I've had a few problems with that brown paint scratching. I sprayed it, well, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, so it's got to be really absolutely rock hard by now. It can't be still wet. So anyway, yeah, these are going to have to go back, unfortunately, back into the respray process. I've got a load of seat frames to do eventually, but I'm looking for something on the floor. I keep losing things on the floor. But anyway, never mind. It's like the Bermuda Triangle down there. So yeah, these are going to have to go back and be resprayed with the seat frames. I mean, no urgency to do all these because I've still got that gap on the other side of the bus, which needs to be dealt with. So that's a simple process. Just stick this little metal bar back in. But now is the time to really bring it alive and start popping in those Rexine panels. Not entirely sure if this goes down as a blooper, but and you can't see it very clearly in this shot because it's hidden slightly. I've got a piece of masking paper stuck to my overalls. I've obviously sat down at some point and right. So these green Rexine panels are probably the highest that we're going to go at the moment with a Rexine because we've got to do the ceiling, as you're well aware. So there's two different types of these green T-pieces depending upon which side of the window they fit upon. And there's also the ones at the bottom there, the ones that are standing up, those long ones, they're all the same basically around. You can see that bit of paper, look. I didn't notice it when I filmed it, and I don't even go back and look at this stuff after I've done it. I was going, yeah, I've done that, so that's out of the way. So anyway, there we are. That is refixing the green bits. Now I've got some slightly more complicated bits to do around that fair chart. This is that slightly dish panel you saw me doing, God knows, about 10 episodes back probably. Yeah, it went all right. I was a little bit concerned because it's got quite a bit of a shape to it, and that green Rexine wasn't particularly malleable, but with this really good glue that I was using, that stuff that I used on the lino earlier, once it grabs it, it just doesn't let go. So what I've got to do now is I've got to put these bracelets back. These are the ones that Kevin's worked really hard polishing up and cleaning up. So I need to pop that back. And I do need to do that because I want to get the seat frame back in, and the seat frame sits just over the top of that panel. So there we are. So that's the bracelet and the panel going back in. Starting to look like a bus again. Meanwhile, you might have noticed at the top of that panel, I've put the one of the sort of bulkhead bits back, the back bulkhead piece. This piece gave me a load of grief. It got damaged the other day, at least the paint did, while it was drying, with all those little things that were floating around in the barn. It was one of the very last panels I actually did before I got plagued with whatever those little floaty things were. So I got the spray gun out. I thought, the weather was nice, I'll get the spray gun out and I'll just do that panel. And luckily, I did that on Saturday, and luckily by Sunday it had dried sufficiently for me to pop it back in when I was doing that panel. So, you know, you could say from the ceiling down to where the seat is, that is now almost complete. Right, should we just do a quick recap as to where we are with this and what I've got done this weekend? That's before we do the socials, obviously. Right, so we got rid of almost all of that brown paper. There's still a little bit more brown paper on the near side bulkhead. I haven't taken that off yet, but I will do that next weekend. That's only a very quickie job. We've got all of the brown Rexine panels in now, so they are done. Apart from that one on the big hole on the side, we'll just scrub that out of your memory for the time being. Most of the green panels are now all back in. I've got some of the cream panels, that one cream panel by the fair chart is in. The panel above the fair chart is also resprayed. I did rub it down actually. Did I not mention I rubbed it down? I rubbed it down, resprayed it, so that's back in. And yep, so the order for the wood has already gone in, and they've given me a price this week, so we've agreed to all of that. The lino on the plinth is back in. So yeah, it's starting to look like a bus once again. So, and I filmed tons of footage of me putting screws in and putting rivets and drilling holes in stuff, but it just isn't that particularly interesting. But I do think I was really pleased actually that we've got this far. Sometimes it feels that it's so far away and there's so much work to do, and it is so damn slow as well. It's not very fast getting it all back in, but anyway, it is getting there. So I'll do very briefly the socials. I thought that was worth a picture. This is one of Mark's little jokes inside his RM158. So here is Mark pulling out 158. He's having a bit of a sort out. As you might be aware from some of these in the past, he's been doing sales stalls at various rallies, and I've given him bits and pieces to that sort of surplus to requirements, as it were. So anyway, here's Mark pulling out his Rootmaster RM158. You may have seen his blinds earlier on, showing a 158 of all things. They're actually DMS blinds, so well done, Mark, for getting that in there. Anyway, so here is Mark's engine running. It's a really nice vehicle. It is a very early, or when it was delivered, eventually after a few years, it ended up at Walthamstow, so it was one of the early Walthamstow RMs. And my one, of course, RM1069, was the very last one to run from Walthamstow, and they're both in the, well, they're both next door to each other now, so reunited. Anyway, that's the socials, and next week, we're going to battle with trying to get this ceiling panel back in. There's young Kevin, who's, yeah. So anyway, watch the next one, and we're going to start putting these ceiling panels back in now that we've made so much progress with the interior of the bus. I've still got the big panels to do, but I thought, well, while these are lounging around, we might as well get these in. And this panel required 3, possibly 4 of us. It was an absolute blooming nightmare, as you can see from Kevin's face. So, yeah, see you next time. Cheers, bye.